Buongiorno everyone. Welcome to this Rails tutorial. And today we are going to do a follow system on Ruby on Rails. It's a little bit tricky, but not that much actually. And afterwards we're going to be able to have systems just like Instagram and Twitter. So I went ahead and created my Rails app. I also installed Devise already, so I have my user model. So you guys go ahead and do that, please. I just wanted to save some time. Those who do not know how to do it, I suggest you go on YouTube and have a look at another tutorial and install it and then come back here. It might be a bit hard for you though if you don't really have experience. So let's get to it. The first thing we want to do, obviously, is to generate the model of relationships. So thanks to Rails magic, we just run Rails generate model relationship, and it's going to take two attributes, one of them being the follower ID as an integer, and the followed ID also as an integer. I don't think I need to explain this, it's very straightforward. One is the person that is following, the other is the person that is being followed. Let's generate this. There we go. Cool. We can already migrate it actually. And we're also gonna start the server in a new tab. Genial. Okay, so let's open Sublime or whatever. I actually have it open. Why did I do that? It's here. Look how prepared I am. Let's go to localhost. Okay, so like I said, I generated a template already, so I just have a navbar and the user model. A little bit in advance, but no worries. Cool. So the first thing we want to do is generate the controller. So we need to go back to our lovely terminal and just generate a controller of relationships. Got it? We have the controller here. Great. Pages controller. We're also going to need a users controller. It's not necessary, there are several ways to generate a profile for the user, but in that case I'm just going to generate a controller for users, and we are going to make a show page on there. I could just do it on pages, for example, you know, call it profile, and it doesn't matter. So show, we want the user to be equal to whatever ID is passed inside of the params. And to be able to see that, we need the template and the routes. So let's go in views, user, create a show page, show, why are you not writing? Show.html.erb. For now, we can display the user's email. And let's get into the routes. Nope, not here. Resources, users. We're going to nest the relationships inside of there, so we can already open the block and do that. Relationships. Yeah, we don't want every route for relationships, right? We don't want every action. We actually only want the create. It's going to be the create, because the create is going to be the one that's going to allow us to actually follow that user. We're also going to have a destroy, but the destroy is going to be outside. Could have done that later, but let's just get it done now. Destroy. Cool. Sounds like a very strong word. Let's have a look if we can actually see a user's profile. And no, we can't, because we don't even have any users. Come on, Hassan, you're better than this. Well, let's just sign up actually from the web. Sign up. Sign up again. And there we are. We can see that we have a user's profile with his param inside. Now, if we have a look at the routes, like very good developers, we can actually see that by nesting our relationship inside of the user routes, we can create a relationship with the path of user relationship, which takes a param of user ID and not ID. Be careful. It's a little tricky one. Rails is trying to trap us. No, I'm joking. So what does that mean? That means if I want to access this create method that is going to be here, I have to access it through the URL, assuming that it's users one and then relationship. And this one here is not going to be referred to as ID anymore, but as user ID. It will make more sense in a second, if it doesn't already. I hope it does. So let's go to our create method. When you want to create the relation, let's take it step by step. So relationship.new, we gave it two attributes, so the follower ID, and we also gave it the followed ID. And the follower ID is very simple, right? The follower ID is just whoever is currently logged in. So it's the current user, which is a method given by Devise. The followed ID, however, is the other user, but we need to grab that other user first, right? Because Rails doesn't know who the hell is this other user. So we need to grab him and assign his ID to the followed ID. So let's grab him above and say, so user.find, since we're in the profile, we actually have this other user's ID here. So we grab him, sorry, actually, my bad. Like I said before, you're going to go through relationships, so you're going to have his ID here when you create the post method. So user ID. Now I'm going to put a raise inside of this method once we create the button to show you how I know it's user ID and not just ID, but everything at a time, one thing at a time. So we want to save and we want to redirect to the show page of the user, of the other user, to actually get back on this page. So our create is actually done. That should be it for the create. We'll do the destroy a little bit later. However, a very crucial point, we did not do the models relations. So the relations of the model are very basic, belong to, has many, but we are going to give them little different names. So I want a user to have many followings, so the user can follow many people. The foreign key of this is the foreign key we created in our schema, and it's follower ID. And the class name is relationships. It's referring to the table of relationship. Great. So we're just basically saying that a user has many following based on the table relationship that have, and every column that have the follower ID. I don't know how I could explain this better. If anyone has questions, please ask. Not like it's a live video. I mean in the comments. You got me, I got you. We got each other. No worries. I talk too much. So we created the relationships. A user has many followers, a user has many followings. And we need to create as well the relationship inside of our model of relationship. Why did I get lost there? And here it's going to be almost the same thing, but not the same thing, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense. So the follower, it belongs to a follower. Again, now we are referring to the model of the user, so it belongs to a follower with the class name, in that case, of user, right? We're creating a relationship between relationship and user. Too many words. Relationship. That's not my fault. Didn't know how to call it. Followed. Class name user. Great. We got our relationships for the relationship and the user. Cool. Cool. Now we maybe want to put a button and test this out. Does it work? Does it not work? I think first what I'm going to do is actually create another user so that we don't follow ourselves. Great. Users 2. Okay, no, actually logged in as 2, so user is 1. This is the other user that I created before, and this is the one we're gonna want to follow. We have our create, let's leave it here. Now it's done. So this is where we are actually going to put our buttons. I think it makes more sense to put it on the user's profile, and it's also easier because we can grab the param. So we're gonna have a look at the routes one more time, and we are going to see again that user relationships is the one that takes us to the controller of relationship create. So user relationship, it takes a param, of course, and this param is the user's ID. It's a post method, right? Because we want to actually add something to the database. And I'm just going to give it a very quick bootstrap class, if you don't mind, guys. Okay. So it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Undefined. Oh my bad. Did you mean path? Of course I meant. Thank you so much, Rails. I love you. You love me too? Ooh. Follow. So now that should work, hopefully. So can we follow? Well, we have no clue. We could have a look at the server. It seems like the post went through, it was committed, everything is cool. Easy peasy lemon freaking squeezy. Let's just put a count here, so let's do h2 followers of that user. So we go to that user dot followers dot count. Remember, we can call followers on user because this is what we added in the model before. And he has 1 follower. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just followed our first user. Jeez. Following. So how many users is that user following? Right now it's not very necessary, but let's just put it there. 0. Cool. So now what we want to do is unfollow this user. But we don't have a destroy method. An action. Let's code it. So the destroy. Now, the thing is, destroy is not nested anymore because we don't need it to be nested inside of the user's routes. Remember when we did the routes, we had that. So resources relationship destroy is actually outside of the block. It's not nested anymore. So the thing we need to do is we actually need to grab this param. We need to we need to grab this ID of the relationship. Sorry. So let's get to the user's controller, and we need to create the relationship. So we need to create an instance variable which is going to refer to the relationship that the two current users have, because of course, like, you are logged in, so you're the first user, and the other user that you're going to follow. So this other user, we want to go through his followers, and through his followers we want to find by the follower if he has a current user. What is happening? It's Chinese. No, it's not. It's Rails. It's Ruby. We are saying, we are creating an instance variable and assigning it this value. This value, what is it? It's saying, I want you to go over that user. That user is whoever is here. So user 1 or user 2. So I want you to go over that user. Go through his followers, right? And his followers, if he has 2, would be 2 people. But I don't want all of them. I only want myself. So I'm telling it, go through these followers and I want you to find myself. So the current user. I want you to find me. Now, why are we doing that? Because here is why. If I'm already following the user, I don't want to be able to follow him again. So here I can just put unless, and say unless rel is present. And you see, the button went away because I already follow this user. The relationship is present, so I don't want you to display it. What I do want to display is the let's use the shortcut, it's cooler. Is the unfollow button. And the unfollow button, let's have a look at the routes. Here we can see, where is it? Here, relationship delete. So here's the path. The path is just the relationship from its ID. And lucky us, we do have access to this relationship because we literally just created it here. So here is how it goes. We just create the button, we say relationship path. It takes a param, of course, the ID of the relationship, and it's going to be this relation's ID. Makes sense? Awesome. Just one last thing, for Rails to know that it needs to go to the destroy method, we need to tell it that it's a delete request. Let's give it a class. Great. Let's add our if statement. So if rel is present. And great, now we have our unfollow button. But does it work? I don't know. We'll find out together. It doesn't work because we didn't create the destroy method. So destroy. We grab the relation. It's like any other destroy method. So you want to find it. In that case, we have access to it through the params. And then we want to destroy it. And let's again redirect to the user path of the other user. But we don't have access to this other user actually, do we? Let's just access it through the relation. Makes sense, right? We are redirecting to the user path, but it takes an ID as a param, so the ID is this relationship's followed ID, so whoever I was following. Let's try it out now. It works! It works! We did it. We all did it together. Cool, guys. That was actually it. Surprisingly easy, right? So just to go over it very quickly, what you need to do, you create a model relationships. It takes two attributes. First one being the follower ID, second one being the followed ID. These are integers. Then we go to the models. Let me show you. We go to the models and we create the relations. So in that case, a user has many followers on the table of relationships with the foreign key of followed ID. Same thing for following, but with follower ID. And then on relationship, it simply belongs to follower and followed on the user table, on the user model. And that's it. The rest is pretty much CRUDing like you've been doing it probably. It's just creating a new instance, it's just saving it, it's just destroying it. So thank you so much guys for watching and good luck.